Yeah, so we were talking about what happens when you don't deal, Camille, when you don't deal with
Yes.
that feeling and that pain, and you become that victim.
Yeah. Well, and it's not easy to step aside and just be stoic about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it is personal. It does feel very personal. And it also your perspective is really off. You have to pull back and get a new perspective, because an immediate reaction is you want to get revenge, or you want someone's hurting you, you want to hurt back, or just it's fight, flight, or freeze. Okay, that's what people do, is they go into that amygdala hijack moment,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not themselves. So, but you have to stop the action. If you don't stop the action, someone could die, and so there's a moment of trauma, betrayal, something ends, you get fired. All those moments of what, like your life is going to alter from this point on. You have to pull back and get a perspective of it. And truthfully, I believe that things are done for us, not to us. We're not supposed to be wounded by it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have a shocking moment like that, if you don't stop and process that and deal with that, that's going to come out later on in life, and you're going to have trust issues with yourself, with other people, with life in general, if you don't stop and process that.
And I think too, y'all, this is just the way it is. We're not meant to be unhappy.
No.
And when we hold on to things that were previously hurtful, we're not living in the now. We're not living in our happiness now. And I think a lot of times some people think that, well, if I allow myself to be happy now, then that means that didn't really happen to me, and it did, and it hurts, and I don't like what they did. Yeah.
If I let it go, it means it's okay. I'm okay with it.
Right. And that all that's doing is keeping you in that little, emotional jail where you're like, I actually can't feel free. And if you've ever been, in a relationship that you were betrayed, and then you found yourself in a new relationship, and maybe in the beginning everything is just so jelly bean happy and blah blah blah,
magical, yeah.
but at some point, if we haven't dealt with that pain, at the innocence of that next person that's in our relationship, it comes back.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you've got to deal with that person's feelings that you just offended, and your own feelings that you haven't got over. You know what I'm saying? And it just becomes encompassing. And I'm here to tell you, Camille will too, y'all, that will cause you at some point, if you don't deal with it, to get sick.
Oh, yeah. Dis-ease is disease.
Mm-hmm.
And we think we just want to run. I mean, I've had a lot of people just rebound. They're like, fine, I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm going to go rebound when they've been betrayed. And the rebound is what you're talking about. That person's going to get drawn into you, and it might feel like love, seem like love, but it isn't love. It's pain relief.
It's pain relief.
It's a drug.
Yeah, it's
a drug.
It's super high. It's Advil on. Yeah.
It's crack cocaine. Let's be honest.
Yeah, because it's for the moment.
It is.
It's taken away a pain.
That's it.
And even if you don't have something happen in your life now, we've talked on the podcast before about your inner you or your inner child.
Yes.
There's a reason why there was pain that you felt as a kid over something.
Right.
Maybe you learned money habits that were not helpful, and you learned that from your family, and now you're an adult and you're like, man, I feel like I can't get out of it, and it's because this happened to me. Well, you know what? If we don't address it, if we don't try to let it go and to get that help through counseling or, self-healing, whatever that means for you,
carry it forward.
You're still living that same. I don't care how old you are. We know of people that are like, nope, I'm just set in my ways. You don't have to be set in your ways. Like, if your ways are good, that's awesome.
Yeah, but that's usually not when they say that.
I
like me. I'm set in my ways. But what happens is like you said something like when you're a younger person and something happens and the truth is we believe it. What do we believe? We believe whatever happened to us is because we deserve it. So, so let's just say someone betrays you, for example, and it's still lingering. There must be a party that believes that you deserve that. And so you're hanging on to that because it means something about you.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to look at is, well, what does it mean about you that they cheated? Or what does it mean about you that this is your result? And maybe there is a part of you that contributed to that. I'm not saying that's not true, but not that you're a victim of it. You just have to say, well, what did I miss? And that's been, some of it is, how did I not see this coming? So, and usually that's what people are guilty about, is they don't see it coming when they get betrayed. But if you believe what the message is from the betrayer, like if someone cheats on you, well, that means what about you? And it's critical to go, well, what did I make that mean? Because that's how you process it is, well, I made it mean I don't want sex with me, or I'm not a good lover, or I'm not a good person, or or I'm stupid, whatever you took on, whatever you personalized, that's where you're going to stay stuck unless you really do some work on that and quit believing that.
Yeah. And I think too, I mean, y'all, let's just break this down. If somebody cheats on you, you don't need to take that as it's your fault.
No, no.
You know what I'm saying? Because if that person was really invested and in love with you, it wouldn't matter if you were skinny, or it wouldn't matter if you were rich, or it wouldn't matter, right?
Whatever reasons you're
we
blaming.
know of people in relationships where maybe one is going through severe health problems. But that
Yes.
doesn't mean the other person leaves.
No.
Or, they find themselves without employment. That didn't mean the other person leaves. So it is never your fault.
No.
And I think especially for women, we feel like, oh, then I'm not beautiful, or I'm not sexy, or I'm not good enough, or I'm not, because there has to be somebody else that was better than me. Maybe men feel this way too, but somebody else was better than me. Therefore, that's why that happened, because I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
That is not true.
And then take that belief into the future with you. And if you aren't good enough, what are you going to attract?
You're going to attract something of the same sort, or you're going to attract somebody else who cheats on you.
And you're going to be right about, I guess I'm just not good enough.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Remember, we talk about this, y'all. What you think about today is what will show up tomorrow or the next day, right? So if you feel, well, you know what, I bet that person cheated on me. He found somebody younger, or she found somebody with more money, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That can become your narrative that will never serve you.
And the narrative there shouldn't be a narrative, but what you want to look at is you want to see it as it is. That I got cheated on. Mm-hmm. And I did get cheated on, by the way. My girlfriend got pregnant by my husband when I was in my 20s. And I heard if you would this and this and this.
Right.
So, okay, so it's my fault that you fell into that vagina. But,
Right. I was there. I'm so sorry I led you to that.
Right. So my bad. So sorry. So it's funny, but I did go down that rabbit hole of, well, it's got to be my fault somehow. Mm-hmm. So I did fix everything about myself I possibly could, and to pretend, and I couldn't trust that person. But I did go to extreme lengths to prove that I was lovable, right. And I'll do everything you asked me to do. I mean, I'm wearing red stilettos, lingerie, and cooking dinner, and holding a baby at the same time. I mean, and chewing gum. I mean, I probably had gum in my mouth.
You're like vacuuming.
I'm in hoochie mama attire. Okay, seriously. I mean, there was great meal, house smelled good, so super clean, all that stuff. But I did it honestly, and I really did have a moment where he said to me, "You know what? This isn't you. This isn't you. This is me." And I needed that moment. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people have, if they get cheated on, they tend to get cheated on multiple times. Mm-hmm. And I didn't. That was the one and only person that cheated on me in my life. And it was my first husband. And so once that happened, I really feel like I processed through that. And I went, I'm not going to go through this again, because I will go the distance. And I knew it wasn't me.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't make anybody do anything. But what I did do was I did realize he wasn't really ready for that commitment. Mm-hmm. And so,
which, to your point,
my bad, right?
I think to your point, that can be a reason why people flee.
Yeah,
because they're just like, you know what, I don't want to be this committed.
Yes.
Because I don't feel confident enough in being committed.
Right.
So again, it's not you.
Right.
I know that some people are like, how did that guy cheat on his girlfriend who's a supermodel?
Yes. Yes.
And it's like, well, because it
wasn't
wasn't about her.
That's right. It's not about the supermodel.
Right.
That's right.
No. And so that has to become the narrative for both men or women.
Yes.
When we're talking about relationships, in that, you didn't do anything wrong. I mean, not saying that maybe we're bitchy sometimes, or maybe, maybe we take our work home with us and whatever. I mean, that
doesn't
is
warrant
just
a cheat, though.
Right.
Yeah.
That warrants a conversation or 12. You know what I'm saying? Like, or help.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing.
Well, and then the question is, can you get over that? Can you stay together? And I'm going to say something. As a counselor, that's a unicorn. I'm not saying it's not possible. I've successfully helped a handful over my career, but most of the time it breaks people up. And
the cheating,
the betrayal. But if it's, look, some people someone's dead or a child passes and they get close to their neighbor. I mean, something happens in a way. I think it was Christy Brinkley that was in a plane crash and she got really close to the passenger sitting next to her. So she's in a temporary state of insanity. She's going through something and only he knows how she felt. And so, I mean, there's certain moments in time when people are just, they gravitate toward that person because they're getting some benefit out of that. I think that if there's a logical and, irrational but rational reason why someone's cheating, it's specific and custom. But if someone's just mad and it's the way they take revenge on the other person, they have contempt for their partner. And by the way, most cheats are out of revenge.
Really?
Really. I mean, the number one reason for an affair is revenge. Not because they didn't get enough sex or, it was a way to get attention and to get even.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but again, and I'll tell you one thing I did with one couple. They loved each other, and I knew they loved each other, but it was all, and they were young. So I said, okay, you're going to separate, and she's going to do the same thing. She's going to have her moment with him. Oh, my Lord, you would have thought I was, killing him. But it was exactly what needed to happen for him to realize she's going to get even with me. Absolutely right. She'll get even. Women get even. People get even. So if you want to have her be faithful, you be faithful. But because you did that, she wanted to stay with him. And the only way she saw herself to do that was, I have to cheat too. And then we're both in the same pain. And that worked, by the way. They're still together this day after 14 years. I'm just saying. It's crazy.
Right.
It's doesn't work for everybody. But there's ways to stay together if that happens. And it's not easy.
What about people that are dishonest or with money?
Yeah, like thieving, like withholding money,
Could
or
be
spending.
They
don't know about,
or not
betrayal.
disclosing things. Really, it doesn't matter what it's labeled.
No.
As far as like what the action happened, it is still betrayal.
Still betrayal
Because
right.
there's a betrayal of trust and.
But a lot of men don't care about that. Do you know that? I mean, just from my work with men and women care. We care that you're using my credit card. That's like what? But men are like, oh, well, of course she's racking it up. If they can afford it, they don't care. But women still don't come in. They're not transparent. The things women lie about the most are what things cost. How much their hair or their makeup or their whatever cost. And if they have any filler about whatever surgeries, but also about sex. They lie about sex and money. Men lie about sex.
What do you mean?
They just, if they're going to lie about something, they're going to lie about having an affair, having sex.
Oh.
Yeah. But they usually don't lie about their money. They might lie, they say they have more than they do. But they usually aren't the ones taken from women, But you're right, if there's a betrayal, and some of these things are, again, they're little revenge moments. They're little passive-aggressive. That's how I say gotcha, because I can't tell you to F off or something,
Right.
So it's really, people are mean to each other. They really are. But I think the ultimate betrayal really would be to have an affair with someone. And I mean, I know someone that had, their wife had an affair for a year. And he had a PI find it, get evidence, whatever, and it caused a major divorce. So
Yeah.
And it damaged him for years. He wasn't going to date
Yeah.
anybody. He was broken for years.
Let's talk about if you've been in that situation and you have been betrayed through an affair from your relationship of some sort. How do you get you back?
Well, I love that people will take time and work on it, because if you don't spend some alone time, you're not going to get through the pain. So there is no cheating that. You have to face the tears. You've got to cry. The cycle of grief, denial, bargaining. It's not that bad. I can forgive him. No, you can't. I mean, there's things like that you have to deal with, but you have to really jump into it and seek help and get yourself sorted out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's no easy way around that.
And really, I think, that's such a lesson for everything.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be about this subject. And I'm just going to refer back to cancer. Like that was my moment. I really had to get real with me.
Yes.
And kind of had to be like, where is my strength? Where is my strength? And so I think sometimes in a relationship, when somebody has been betrayed, they think, well, there's my strength. It's gone.
Mm-hmm.
What I trusted in.
Yes.
Trust is different than you depending on somebody to fill your cup.
Yes.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? And so if somebody has broken your trust, that doesn't mean your cup is not still full.
Right.
You can still fill your own cup. You just don't have the overflow that's given to that person,
That's right.
or whatever. But I think if you really, Camille is so good about this, if you really just let yourself off the hook that you didn't do anything wrong.
You didn't deserve this.
Nope.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that you're punished.
It's not punished.
Yeah, no.
It's just, I mean, it's just like I know she has clients like this all the time that eventually they will say, it wasn't you.
Yes, that's right.
It wasn't you, you know.
That favorite movie, Good Will Hunting, when Matt Damon is talking to Robin Williams, and Robin Williams, as a counselor, is saying he knows the child's abuse and everything in the history, and Matt Damon just doesn't think he's in it. He's a mathematician. He's a genius. He can make oodles of money and be super famous, but he sabotages himself. And when Robin Williams, the counselor, looks at him and says, "It's not your fault," he's like, "Yeah, I know," and he's like, "No, it's not your fault." And just don't mess with me, man. Don't say that. You know, you can just see in the movie, and I think it's designed for this perfect moment, right? But watch that movie, because really when a person realizes, no, really, it's not your fault. You didn't deserve that, and you didn't ask for it, and then you can let it go. Yeah. And then you can thrive. And that from that moment, from the movie on, he's thriving. Great movie, by the way, for therapy.
Yeah. So make sure you guys watch that.
Yeah.
We appreciate you being here. If you have some things you want to talk about,
or ask questions, send us questions.
We'd love to help you as a team, or if you'd like to work with Camille
or Gretchen,
some counseling.
That's right.
We appreciate that. You can go to startingovercommunications.com. We changed it.
Startingovercommunications.com.
And message us there. So anyway, we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for listening. Bye.